Because it's that time of the year again, back to school time, we wanted to take a moment to talk to you about one of our studies, Truth About Youth, that studies the young generation today. For that, we interviewed over 7,000 youths aged 16 to 30 years old across the 5 continents. And what we wanted to do is kind of understand what motivates them, what their aspirations are, and what they firmly believe in. In order to do that, we listed 16 universal human motivations and sent them out across the countries to see which ones stuck. 3 came back as being unanimously important among the youth today. The first one being a sense of belonging to a community. The second, a dream of equality and justice for all, including oneself. And thirdly, the willingness to see and live things the way they truly are through the lens of sincerity and authenticity. One element we haven't talked about, but that is fundamental when speaking about this young generation, is the internet. Indeed, technology is a glue that binds this generation and which makes all these findings ever more fundamental. This is actually the first generation that was born and raised with the internet. So technology and internet is not so much an extra limb as it is an actual fifth sense. 50% of the young people that we spoke to said they would be willing to give up their sense of smell if that meant that they could save their mobile phone or laptop. One might think that this trait is completely ludicrous and that means that kids today are slaves to their iPods and iPhones, but that isn't the case at all. When we look at how much these tools bring kids on a daily basis, these are the only way that the young people today have an ability to master the world that they live in and actually make sure that their voices are being heard. So in sum, the internet has become the premier playground, but also battlefield. We've entered a new society where people don't value themselves by what they own or what they buy, but how they interact, present themselves, and spread content in this new social space that is the internet. And for this generation, it also implies broadening one's influence spheres beyond the traditional nuclear family, and also becoming friends with people that one doesn't even know or will never even know. But there's a downside to having so many new friends. People start competing against one another to add more friends. There's social frustration, espionage, and also moving from a group of people you know to a greater audience. And that's when a new preoccupation comes about, that of e-reputation, because criticism can come from anywhere, from anybody, and also and oftentimes be very violent. And it turns out that brands have the same fear as the youth do today. The fear of not being heard, of being left by the wayside, or even being criticized or attacked. That's why they struggle to establish more friend-like relationships with their target today. Relationships that must be built on humility, maturity, and sociability. But more importantly, what teens and youths expect from brands are for them to be sincere and authentic. The worst thing you can do as a brand to a member of this young generation today is to lie to them or not to keep one of your promises. This is just one more example of how the aspirations of the youth today have changed. The goal is no longer to be powerful, rich, famous, or beautiful, but it's to do right by yourself and also by those around you. The same applies to brands. That's why we talk about social brands, or better, justice brands. Justice brands are brands that stand for something and that strive to make every day better and the world a better place. The most notable justice brands are Google, Facebook, Microsoft, and Apple, and they also happen to be the favorite brands of the target that we're interested in. Why are they their favorite brands? A, because they're useful. They actually help teens carry out their endeavors and help them get ahead in society, and also because they allow people to do what's right, and hopefully one day make the world a better place.